Welcome back to the channel. Today I've brought the explanation of the poem The Voice of the Rain by Walt Whitman for class 11. We'll be doing the theme, explanation, and then the literary devices. So let's begin with the theme. Now, the theme. In the poem, Walt Whitman is in a beautiful and enigmatic conversation with the rain. So, poem, it is a conversation. पोइट जो है वो रेन से एक क्वेश्चन पूछता है बट पोइट जो है वो आंसर की उम्मीद नहीं कर रहा है बट when the poet gets the answer, it is very strange and unusual thing for the poet. So, in its answer to the poet's question about the identity of the rain compares itself to poetry and calls itself the poem of earth. So, rain जब answer देती है poet को, तो rain अपने आप को poem of earth कहती है. Then rain also identifies itself as the life source और वो अपने आप को life source भी बताती है when it says without me were seeds only latent unborn कि मेरे बगैर जो seeds हैं वो latent और dormant ही रह जाएंगे वो plant में grow नहीं करेंगे. Rising from the earth, that is land and sea, it returns to its benefactor with love, satiating thirst and purifying the atmosphere. Rain कहती है कि मैं पूरा साइकिल करने के बाद अर्थ पे वापस आ जाती हूँ और हर जो भी प्यासी चीज है उसकी प्यास बुझाती हूँ एंड आई प्योरीफाई एवरीथिंग. अब पोएट को ये सुन के क्या लगता है? तो टू द पोएट व्हाट रेन रेजोनेट्स फॉर अर्थ पोएट्री इकोज फॉर द सोल. तो पोएट कहता है रेन जो है वो अर्थ के लिए जो है पोएट्री वही जो है ह्यूमन सोल के लिए है. So what rain resonates for earth, poetry echoes for the soul. So the poet creates a parallel between the two and highlights the nourishing and healing nature of rain and poetry. So this is important. It poet highlights the nourishing and healing nature of rain as well as poetry. एक जो है वो अर्थ के लिए है और दूसरा जो है वो ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए respectively. So one is for the earth and other for humanity respectively. So this is the theme of the poem. So you remember this nourishing and healing nature of rain as well as poetry. Now we move on to the explanation. First two lines. And who art thou? Said I to the soft falling shower, which, strange to tell, gave me an answer as here translated. So these two lines, the poem opens with a question. The poet asks the soft falling shower, who are you? And strangely enough, the poet gets an answer, which the poet translates for the readers. So here art, it means are, thou is you, and strange is unusual. So as you can see in the picture, so maybe the poet is standing in the rain, enjoying rain and soft drops of rain means that it's not pouring, it's not heavy rain, it's drizzling. So they touch the poet, and the poet is inquisitive and he asks a question from rain, asking, who are you? So let's see the setting here. Setting, it is raining, soft falling shower, tiny and delicate drops. They mesmerize the poet, and he inquisitively asks a direct question without expecting it. So when the poet asks rain that who are you, poet is actually not expecting an answer, but poet gets an answer, and that is very unusual for the poet, and therefore the poet translates that answer for his readers. So that is why it is strange for the poet when he receives an answer. So let's read further now. I am the poem of earth, said the voice of the rain. Eternal I rise, impalpable out of the land and the bottomless. So now in its answer, the rain calls itself the poem of earth and describes its eternal journey. Now, eternal means never ending. Impalpable is unseen, that cannot be touched. So it rises. Rain then says that I rise. So when it says rises, it means evaporation. Unseen, so you cannot touch the vapors. Here you can see from land, vapors are rising, then from sea also, and these are impalpable. You cannot touch them from the surface of land and sea, which is its origin. So it is the origin of rain, and this is the first step. Now, as poet listens to it, so poet जो है वो बहुत पेशेंटली रेन को सुन रहा है एंड जैसे जैसे पोइट जो है रेन को सुन रहा है उसके दिमाग में एक पैरेलल क्रिएट हो रहा है. सो दिस इज द एक्सटेंडेड मेटाफर. As rain calls itself the poem of the earth and explains its origin, the poet thinks, how close is this to the origin of a song or a poem? This is how parallel is created now. So it also arises impalpable, unseen in the mind of the singer or a poet. So here you can have a look at this picture and you'll understand. So कोई poet है या फिर कोई आर्टिस्ट है, कोई सिंगर है, उसके दिमाग में एक आइडिया जो है वो पनपता है. So that is the first step. So it is the first step of when an idea, or you can say the first maybe few words of the song or the poem, they come up in the mind of the artist. Now after that, what happens? It is just like the first step and the cycle of rain. It evaporates from the surface of land and sea. Now then, upward to heaven, whence vaguely formed, altogether changed and yet the same. It then ascends. Now vapors, they rise up upwards to heaven and they transform. So that the process is condensation into vague. Vague means not clearly formed clouds. So though its form changes, it remains the same. So whence here is from where or which, and vaguely not clearly. So it means that vapors they rise and from which vague clouds are formed, not very clear, not defined outline. So clouds जो है वो बन जाते हैं. अब वेपर्स का फॉर्म चेंज हो गया, कंडेंसेशन हो गई है, पर है तो वो पानी ही. So yet the same. Now again, extended metaphor for this, because poet is comparing it. Once an idea is originated in the mind of the creator, it starts taking shape. Initially, a vague outline is formed, and then the creator works. So, similarly, when the poet has an idea in his mind, so that idea is originated, and then slowly and slowly it will start taking shape. And the poet or the writer will start writing it on a piece of paper. So, it has now started taking shape. This is the second step, as this is the second step in the journey of the rain. So similar second step comes here. Now next, then what happens? I descend to lave the drops, atomies and dust layers of the globe. So finally the rain descends to quench the thirst of dry fields, settle atomies and wash dust layers of the atmosphere, thus completing the cycle. So lave here is to wash. Atomies is tiny particles. Drops here means dry fields or with the scarcity of water. So wherever there is scarcity of water. So the poet now writes, as the rain tells the poet, that after that, the third step is that I descend. I come back. I fall back on earth. And I quench the thirst of all the dry fields. I settle the dust particles, the atomies, and I make the atmosphere clean and clear. So thus completing the cycle. And completing the cycle means it reaches back from where it has originated. So finally, the extended metaphor for here. Finally, when it is complete, so it here is the song or the poem, it is released or published, and then it will reach out to people, soothing their souls. It replenishes humanity as rain nourishes the earth. So it'll reach people, poem, it'll reach out to the audience, and people, they will listen to it, they like it, and there will be the message of the poem or the song, it will also reach people and it will replenish humanity as rain nourishes the earth. So you can see in this picture, people, they're enjoying the song or the poetry, and it will have effect on their souls. It will replenish their souls. The message will enlighten them. Then after that, rain says that all that in them without me were seeds only, latent, unborn. And forever, by day and night, I give back life to my own. So it says, I give back life to my own origin and make pure and beautifying. So the rain also explains that without it, all the seeds on the earth would remain latent and unborn. It is because of it that they sprout to life. So the rain gives back life forever, day and night, to its own origin, that is earth, making it pure and beautiful. So rain says that I fall back on earth. Earth is my originator, and I come back and I give life to earth. So seeds, they will remain unborn if I do not give life to them, if I do not nourish them. So the latent here means dormant or hidden, an extended metaphor here. Similarly, poetry also inspires readers, enlightens them with many life lessons. As I've already explained, तो लोग पोइट्री सुनेंगे या सॉन्ग सुनेंगे, उनका मैसेज उन तक पहुंचेगा, and their souls will be enlightened. And it may inspire many people. वो अपना सॉन्ग खुद अपने लिए पोइट्री या सॉन्ग जो है वो लिखना शुरू कर देंगे, और इससे साइकिल जो है वो कंप्लीट होगा. सो कुछ लोग जो हैं उनको इंस्पिरेशन मिलेगी अपनी पोइम लिखने का. एक्सक्यूज मी. So humans, they also need poetry for the emotional development. Thus, the poet is comparing कि जैसे अर्थ में बारिश जो है वो चाहिए नरिशमेंट के लिए, सो सिमिलरली ह्यूमन सोल जो है, ह्यूमैनिटी जो है, उसको भी पोइट्री चाहिए और कंप्लीट इमोशनल डेवलपमेंट. Now the last lines that are in the bracket. For the song issuing from its birthplace after fulfillment, wandering, wrecked or unwrecked, duly with love returns. The poet here creates a parallel between a song and the rain. As a song originates from its birthplace, that is the heart of the singer, and travels, it wanders to reach the listeners, whether anyone cares or not, whether people like it or not. The song travels and returns to the singer, that is, place of its origin, with love. That return is the feedback. So, similarly, rain completes its cycle, gives life, purifies the atmosphere. It continuously performs its duty, whether someone appreciates it or not. So, again, when poet is creating a parallel, so poet कह रहा है कि सॉन्ग जो है वो भी ट्रैवल करेगा, या जो पोम है वो ट्रैवल करेगी, लिसनर्स तक जाएगी, ऑडियंस तक जाएगी. Audience, they will listen to it. Some will like it, some may not like it. So, wrecked or unwrecked, wandering is traveling from place to place. Wrecked is cared for, and unwrecked, obviously, it's uncared for. So, many people they'll care for it. Care for here means they love it. There will be others who won't care for it, who won't like it, who won't love it. But all this feedback, it will return to the singer, that is the place of the originator from where it has originated. So it will return to the singer with love. The feedback will reach the singer. And similarly, rain completes its cycle, purifies the atmosphere, gives life, and even if someone likes it, even if someone doesn't appreciate rain for what it is doing, rain will keep on doing this. The cycle will go on forever. Now, these lines, they are not a part of the direct conversation between the poet and the rain. So, these are the thoughts of the poet that sprout up in his mind as he listens to the answer given by rain. So, these are the thoughts. That is why these lines, they are in brackets. So, you can see this bracket. So, these lines, they are not the part of the direct conversation. These are the thoughts that sprout up in the mind of the poet as he listens to what rain is saying. Now, when the poet writes with love returns, he brings forth rain's capability of loving the earth. So, rain, the capability of rain to love the earth that is its originator, on which it then floats. Before it, it will seem like a scientific fact. Now, the poem before this, it will seem as if the scientific fact or the water cycle it is explained. But the poem is much beyond the water cycle. So this word love, it adds that emotional depth to the poem. So before this, it seems like a scientific fact, but the word love raises the poem to an emotional level. The parallel drawn between the two becomes deeper. So when the poet says that the rain comes back to the earth, gives life, and all this, the rain it is doing with love for earth. So then that emotional attachment is created in the poem. And same then poet translates, and the poet says that same goes with poetry. So poetry also creates an emotional bond between people, between humans. Now the literary devices. First is personification. Rain has been personified throughout the poem. It has been given the ability to speak. As you read the title, even the voice of the rain. So, rain has been given the capability to speak. In the line, when the poet writes, said the voice of rain. This is again personification. Then metaphor. Rain calls itself the poem of the earth. When rain calls itself the poem, so that is metaphor. Then extended metaphor. I've explained extended metaphor with every line. So to the poet, rain seems to be poetry. So poet is saying that rain is like poetry. So obviously the poet is not using the word like, but therefore it is extended metaphor. Hyperbole. Bottomless sea. Sea has a bottom. Maybe it is very, very, very deep, but there is a bottom. So therefore, when the poet writes bottomless sea, it is exaggeration, so it is hyperbole. Then parallelism. A parallel is created between rain and song poetry. Last two lines it becomes very clear. So we have parallelism also in the poem. Then we have imagery, soft falling shower. Then I rise impalpable and I descend. All this creates an image in front of the reader, and therefore it is imagery. Then rhyme. This poem, it doesn't have any rhyme scheme. It is written in three verse, and tone of the poem is conversation. So these are the literary devices and the explanation. Now in the next video, I will be writing question answers and other few important expressions that will be explained for your preparation for your term 2 exam. So that's all for today, and I hope that you've understood it. Do subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and follow me on Instagram. So this is all. Bye for now. Happy watching.